Okay, your organization is not doing well. Everybody is complaining. Look at Nigeria with the performance. Performance has been horrible. Performance has been horrible in Nigeria. Look at revenue performance. Nigeria is one of the countries with the lowest revenue to GDP ratio globally. The global standard for revenue to GDP ratio is about 20% of your GDP. So Nigerian GDP is about, okay, a few years ago, maybe let me say 3 years ago, it's about $500 billion. So if the global threshold is about 20% of that, that should have been how much? $100 billion. Is that right? $100 billion. $100 billion, if you multiply by 1,000, is how much? It's 100 trillion. Cash. Cash. 100 trillion. Today, the GDP has dropped because productivity has dropped. Because of all sorts of foreign exchange problems and all that. The GDP of this country has dropped to about $240 billion. $240 billion. So even if you are doing 20% of that, 20% of $240 billion is $48 billion. And $48 billion, if multiplied by 1,500, how much is it? It's about 72 trillion. No borrowing. No borrowing. So there's a crisis. There are performance issues. And so in a usual development context, what should have expected is that people should come to tell us what they want to do for the country as governors, as presidents. But that is not happening. So the election system is not fixed today. So we get in people who really does not go to solve problem. It would have been easier what happened in Kenya where debates happened and Bivas worked and people were able to get in somebody they wanted because he has what it takes to present to them. So what we are saying in essence is that change are motivated by issues. Performance is a big issue in our country. America's GDP is about $29 trillion. $29 trillion. But they have borrowed 36 trillion. 7 trillion above their GDP. Nigeria, what is Nigeria owing? Our GDP is how much? $240 billion. How much are we owing? Maybe 70, 80 billion dollars. Is that much compared to America that's owing over 7 trillion above their GDP? But they don't have an issue. They have issues, yes. That's one of the issues they are trying to face. Donald Trump is trying to fix that issue. That's why he's talking about tariffs. He believes that there are a lot of money going out of the country unnecessarily to like waste. So they want to cut down on money they are giving as aids and all that. US aid, they are shutting it down. Why? Because they feel a lot of these monies are going. So those are issues we have to deal with. But what I'm saying in essence is that if you look at our debt today, it's not too much. It's not too much. But because the revenue is a problem. So who can fix the revenue issue? There's, okay, people feel the current president has done that work in Lagos. Lagos was about 600 million naira in 1999 when he was doing revenue collection. He came in and changed it. Today, Lagos is doing how much? Close to 50. Is that not so? Monthly? So if you do that, 50 times 6 and 12, that's about almost 600 billion from Lagos alone. Their budget this year is 3.2 trillion for Lagos State. So what has happened? So people believe he can do the same thing at the federal. So he's a good candidate for what? Fix the Nigerian problem. Most of the issues of this country is coming from revenue side. If you fix the revenue side, you can fix this country. The other issue is to deal with the corruption. How will you ensure that there is value for money? The money you have is doing the job, not that people are pocketing half of the money through contract inflation. That's one of the major problems in Nigeria. Anyway. All right, technology too is taking a new dimension. You know, technology has changed a lot of the way we do things today. If you're not technologically savvy today, you probably will not be able to fit into society. Everybody needs to technologically be savvy. You must be sound technologically. And it's easy, it's to learn. If you have a learning mind, you can always learn. So technology is a key imperative. There are driverless cars today in America. Google is doing that. Electric cars all over the place. These things are beginning to change how people behave. AI now is a major issue. American markets came down because of DeepSeek in China. So technology is making a lot of impact. New opportunities also can create change. Want to go in a new direction. Dangote, richest man in Africa, sometimes him and this other guy oscillate in South Africa. But the point is that he sees the opportunity in oil and gas and moved to refineries. Today he's at the biggest refinery. Single train, isn't it? Globally. So how did you see that opportunity change? There is need for change. That opportunity, you can see, this is a green field. With the government refinery not working, the land they are working now, they are beginning to load petrol. But how long will it last? Probably in another few months again, they break down again. Because the arthritis like an old man, old woman. So the issue is opportunities can create need for change. You know. So what are the opportunities in Nigeria today? The government at a point begin to do a lot of food imports. And they say we are spending about $10 billion importing food, rice. I said, we cannot feed ourselves. They work on that. But Nigeria with a population of 220 million people is a big opportunity for everybody into agric, farming. If you go into farming, probably no, you won't need a government job if you do it well. So it's an opportunity for everyone to say, if I want to change, how do I take opportunities, dissect the opportunities in whatever way possible and see where opportunities are and grab them. And early enough is better, isn't it? Sometimes people make wait until they retire before they start thinking of this how to harness opportunities, and it's too late. So opportunities come once, somebody say come once, you know, and then you can lose it. Okay, this is another man that you know very well. He's not a friend of black people anyway. A lot of people are scared of him. Along Nigerians, how many thousand Nigerians are supposed to come back? 3,690 or so. And then most of them are hiding now. They don't go to church again. They don't go to the supermarket because the man has sent security looking for them to send them back to their country. But you can see why there is a pressure on America. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world now, is now in charge of the government operations to bring down any kind of cost, anything that is wasting money. They're shutting down US aid, and many of the inspectors have been sent away. Why? They want to bring down their deficit. Over 100% deficit. So need for change. So if you can identify change triggers, you can be more responsible in your organization. Talking about organization, even you as a person, if you identify a change trigger, what change need to happen, and you are the one suggesting that thing, that solution. It would be like Joseph in the Bible, where after explaining the dream to Pharaoh, what did he say? He said, if you can explain this dream like that, who else can do this job than you? And then put him there. So it's an opportunity to identify change triggers. Then that can give you opportunity to become relevant. And everybody wants to be relevant. Your relevance is a matter of your ability to identify change triggers. If I identify triggers, I can become the change agent. And therefore, that will lead to my promotion and my establishment. But you can see that this man, rhetorics resonate with what the issues America are facing. Illegal immigrants, over 1.4 million persons. Quite a lot of persons are hanging around America without visas. Can you imagine that? When I saw it, I was a bit surprised that people from Venezuela, 200-something thousand people from Venezuela, are hanging around America without visas, expired visas, undocumented immigrants. So you can see why they believe that that is the cause of the gun shooting and all that happened in America. People just get angry, started shooting people. They say they feel that people are coming to take their rights or benefiting where they're not supposed to benefit and killing people. White people do that a lot. And Islamic fundamentalists also come into their country to do all sorts of things. And he feels that that is the only way to go for the country to be stabilized. So it's doing America first. Protectionism. But somebody will say, okay, you are doing protectionism, which is also called state capitalism. What about democracy, free speech? What about globalization, global world, where everybody's treated together? It is causing a distortion, global distortion. So it becomes a paradox. If you are promoting liberalization, at the same time you're also promoting state capitalism, then there's a problem. Because the world is already scared that maybe inflation will be another thing else very soon with what he is doing. Because if prices of things goes up in America, what will happen? There's what we call transmission mechanism of that inflation to the rest of the world. It has happened before. 2008, you know what happened? Global financial meltdown. What happened in America with the mortgage situation? Bad mortgages. What happened to the rest of the world? All of us went down. I was the commissioner of finance in Bayelsa. We couldn't even pay salary at that point. It was so difficult. Oil prices went down. Because when demand goes down, what happens? Demand for oil also will go down. Inflation will, So we just pray that it doesn't lead to something else. Because it looks like if this thing continues, we need to plan for it. That's why we're economists, we're finance people. Probably in the next 1 year, we may experience another meltdown if you're not careful. So those who need to save money, we're going to save money. Okay, so opportunities and change need for what? Growth. Growth can be another basic thing why change is. So Access Bank is acquiring a lot of institutions, isn't it, all over Africa? Diamond Bank, your beloved Diamond Bank, has been acquired and has been what? Swallowed by Access. We are not seeing Diamond Bank anymore because it looks like it's an acquisition, not a merger. If it's a merger, it will have been that they say Access Diamond will have appeared. The two names will have appeared. That's not the situation we see. But it's more of an acquisition. But it's what? It's about growth. Access Bank is the biggest bank in terms of assets in Nigeria today. In terms of profit, it's Zenith. But in terms of size, it is Access. So they are growth motivated. 20 years growth plan to be the largest bank in Nigeria and by extension Africa. They are achieving that already. So growth can be another reason why. So this is not peculiar to an organization. Look at institutions like Nigerian Content Development Management Board, NCDMB. They've done very well. As one of, I think they have become #1 public institution in Africa. When Simbi was there, Engineer Simbi Wabote, they did a lot of things, and then they stood out. They didn't have any issue of payment. You don't need to see anybody to get payment in NCDMB. Payment comes to you. The system was so organized, and that it became a true example of an efficient public institution. So the question is, somebody has already laid the foundation for that. Can that happen in NDDC? It can happen. So those are some of the things that are very important. So you need to identify what change do we need? What change do I need? You ask yourself that question. In the next 10 years, where do I want to be? Opportunities for you as a person. Where do I want to be in 10 years? You need to set that benchmark for yourself. It's important to say, I want to be like this. People that have degrees, there are people who have degrees within 10 years, they've covered all sorts of degrees, 5 degrees. It is a planned thing for growth. And one funny thing is that, see, Aristotle said that. He said, preparation is important for growth. If you plan it, you will get there. So we need to develop ourselves to be able to get to our destination. You remember Brexit? Sometimes it's just for the sake of change. It's not really change itself, because people believe, how can you leave a bigger market to become a smaller country, a smaller market? EU is a bigger market. But I think it's more of national sovereignty that made Brexit thing to happen, because they wanted to just have their image. UK, Britain, we want to be our own country. We don't want that. It's also linked to what Donald Trump is doing, because they wanted to stop immigrants from the Central and Eastern Europe flocking into the UK. But at the end of the day, has it benefited them? Those are the questions that we need to, as we go forward, we're going to see some models. We're going to ask ourselves the question, so are there things that need to be done? What are the future prospects of change? Because change is not for the sake of change. Change must bring results, and we must be able to see those results. Okay, look at our government now. The government came in, and the day the president came in, he announced what? He said he has what? Subsidy is gone. Then he also did what? What did he do again? Foreign exchange. Harmonize. So there's an arbitrage and they harmonize it. So people will ask the question, what is in for me? You're going to see that in our presentation. Now, one of the things about change is that the question is that what is the benefit for me versus the pain? Which one is more in this case? The pain versus the benefit? The pain? So the question about change is that any change that is happening, the question that must be asked is that what is the benefit versus what? The pain. Is the pain more than the benefit? Or the pain can gradually fizzle out over a year, over the time. Now, that presentation needs to be made before you undertake change. People need to understand whether the change they are going into is beneficial in the short term, in the medium term, and in the long run. You know what is happening with Shell and oil companies? Most of them are shutting down, isn't it? They are moving offshore. But they are doing same things in Angola and other places. They're investing, not just offshore, they're even onshore too. Are there things that they didn't do right? The other day, Ogoni, President was meeting with stakeholders from Ogoni and River State about, go back to drilling in Ogoni land. Okay, so almost oil has been there, and no drilling has happened for so many years now. Why are they leaving? Are there things they're supposed to do they haven't done? Very correct. Look at those environments and the money that comes out from those environments. There's no development. And that's the cause of all the crisis. Now, if the oil companies are doing what they need to do in terms of development, I don't think youth will come up and challenge them. Is that not so? Do you agree? If the development is undertaken by these oil majors, I don't think that the issues they've had, they will have them. But you come to a community like that, produces so much billions every year in dollars, and there's nothing to show for it. No water, no light. Even the people themselves from those communities are not employed by these oil companies. They bring foreigners from other people to employ. So it's a recipe for crisis. So what change needs to happen? For a long-term view, what needs to happen? There must be more engagement with the people. Let us not deceive ourselves. These problems created by this oil major is man-made problems. They created the problem by themselves. They will have avoided these problems. All right, so we've actually taken time to look at why change. Let's look at it. Change management is the concept that explains the change or transition of corporations, project entities, and people from one stage to another. How do we transit? So it is, somebody mentioned transformation. So it's about transformation. And that transformation is not about institutions alone. It's about people. If where you work today, there's a lot of transformation happening in the organization, it affects you. You also become a better human being. Your life will change. So it is not about just the organization doing transition. So I read about some of the transition happening in NDDC with KPMG coming to do corporate governance, architecture. Okay, so what is the essence of that? What is it going to affect you? Is it going to improve on your pocket? Because one of the things that employees always look at is, okay, how much is going to enter my pocket based on this thing they are doing? Abi? So what is the presentation about that? Okay, how much is coming to your pocket? So change management implies the adoption of refocus methods, standardized framework to ensure the transformation of a business from its present state to a new vision state. So if I asked you, I have mentioned payment reforms. NDDC overdue for payment reforms. Do you agree? Payment reforms? You agree? You don't want to raise your hand. What else do you think you want to see happen in your own institution? What type of reform do you want to see that can make it to be #1 best public sector institution? You've seen the need for that. So change management helps a business organization to reinvent, not reinvest, reinvent itself and steer its course in a new direction and put it in a high-performing pedestal. Just like you see, I mentioned NCDMB. So change management is a dynamic concept and requires new thinking, skills, expertise. I am happy because of maybe some of the changes happening in NDDC, this is something that pertains to that, because NDDC, I think, want to move in a new direction with corporate governance. Corporate governance is how manage stakeholders. Stakeholders are managed, how power is shared, no abuse of power, very important. You try to apportion power equally, checks and balances and all that. So it requires the deployment and the buy-in of the business owners, top management staff that require a well-thought-out approach. So we just look at a few of the models, although there's one that is very pertinent today, but I will just look through them quickly. Lewin Change Management Model. It was developed by a physicist and a social scientist called Kurt Lewin in the 1950s. So let's look at the model. So let's look at it. It's unfreeze, then change and refreeze. That is his own model. It says that we determine what need to change, and then ensure there is a strong support from management. The what need to change. Okay, so quickly, everybody should write down, take a note. I'll come down and just look at it, even if you don't say it. What are the things that need to change in your department, in the NDDC? What need to change? Because I want to make sure that we don't just come and talk and go. Write down what needs to change. And then ensure there is a strong support from management. Create the need for change. Manage and understand the doubts and concerns. Do you believe that, write it down, what needs to change in your department? Please, can everybody write down? It's important for us to engage ourselves. What needs to change in your department, in your directorates? And then, do you think there's a buy-in from those who are ahead of you, directors and all those people? Do you think they see that thing? Because you can be seeing some other people don't say it. So can you just write it down? So unfreeze is to determine. Then number 2, change. Communicate often, dispel. Communicate often about the change. Dispel rumors, empower actions, involve people in the process. I don't know what happened with the change that is taking place in NDDC, especially corporate governance. I don't know whether you guys have seminars on corporate governance to buy into this new concept. That's what change is talking about. That before change is implemented, there must be a way of carrying people along. Otherwise, if people don't buy into it, change does not really happen. Buy in. And that's what happens at the level of change. And then what happens, refreeze means what? Anchor the changes into the culture. The culture of an organization. Culture is what? Is the operating system of an organization. The operating system. Just the operating system of your computer. So if you don't get culture right, what happens? It can disable the performance of the organization. Culture is a major issue. Develop ways to sustain the change, provide support and training, and then begin to celebrate success, incremental success. You don't need to worry about big success. Even organizations that are very innovative organizations, in a department, normally you go for a departmental meeting, and a particular chap doesn't talk again. Anytime you go for a meeting, he's shy in talking. And one day started talking, hey, clap for him. Everybody clap for him. To motivate it, that's a success. Somebody that doesn't really make contribution, begin to make contribution, everybody's clapping for him. It gives you what incentive for him to talk more, isn't it? So that is what we're talking about. So these are 3 stages. Then we have the McKinsey. I will just look through. You can read through the note. I will just talk about the frameworks. We have the McKinsey, but at the center of McKinsey, there are 7 S. We have the shared values at the center. Because shared values are talking about culture again. Without culture fixed, it's difficult for anything to happen in an organization. Even a country, value reorientation. So strategy can be perfect. I review Nigerian development plans from 1962. The first National Development Plan of 1962 till today, I tell you. The same things that are there are being discussed today in Nigeria. One of the things they're talking about, diversification of the economy. How many years ago? 63 years ago. That was the main thrust of economic development in Nigeria. Diversification of what? The economy. And we're still talking about it. 63 years ago, that's what they were saying, 1962. And many of us are not born then, Abi. I don't know how many people are born before born 1962 here. Anybody? 1962, you are already there? You are born? They retired, okay. So you can imagine that 1962, the same issue that they wanted to fix, they have not fixed it. Then look at Dubai, UAE. They started talking about this diversification in 1975. And they've done it. Because non-oil revenue contributes 50% of the UAE total revenue. Non-oil. So what are we trying to say? So values are important, strategy is important, but values is more important. Structure drives strategy. I say structure is the engine of strategy. That's my own definition. Why strategy is the winning formula. Strategy is the winning formula. Structure is the engine of that strategy. Without structure, strategy won't work. But overall, you have shared value. So systems, staff, style, skills. Most organizations, for you to go into be employed in those organizations, they will ask you about your value, core values. Because that is the fundamental. A guy is very smart, but he's a thief. What happened? He's a thief. He's very smart, first class. You employ him in your organization, he can be taking all the money in the organization. The organization is like a chef just standing there. He has stolen all the money. What happened to the organization? It's gone. So integrity. So what do you believe as the core value of organization? Some people say innovation. Some people say leadership. Some people say teamwork. You know, these are the things that guide organization. So most organizations, for you to get into the organization, then you need to prove to them that your core value resonates with their own core values for you to get in there. Because culture, we eat strategy as breakfast. If the culture is notorious, like Nigerian culture that is notorious, at the point people even say that, school is a scam. Especially this part of Nigeria, south and southeast. I think sometimes you could say education is a scam. People don't want to go to school. You know, they say that because they say those who don't want to go to school are making billions than the people who go to school. But it's not, is that like that in Lagos? It's not. Fintech and all that thing, like all this Money Point. Money Point is about $1 billion business now. Yeah. They are making a lot of money. Those who are going to school are showing that school pays. But here, it seems that school does not pay. So our people are now saying education is a scam. Young people. Because they've not been able to see how to resonate with that. So there's a missing link. There needs to be retraining. There must be a way to be able for us to discover what those guys are doing that bring them to the point where they are today. So it means that these 7 of them must move together. If you want to be a high-flying organization, you must get high-skilled people to be there. Your system must be good. It's not just about, we want the organization to be a performing organization, but you bring the wrong people there. What will happen? You mess up the organization. So change, from essence, is that change is comprehensive. Change is what? Comprehensive. And it is something that is integrated. It can't happen on one leg. It must happen on 7 legs.
Then you have the nudge theory. You say you must look at change from the point of view of your employees.
So I'm going to ask you to write down where do you think should be the change in your department. Because it takes it from the level of department. Now, if you do this exercise, if we take time and say, we want to do change in NDDC, and then we'll now begin to do it from 1 week on change management. From the level of department to the directorate, step by step. By the time you finish, what you will see will amaze you. What need to be done. So it must see it from the point of what? The employees. And then you begin your changes, evidence to show the best option, present change as a choice. And then say, keep momentum with short-term wins. Because if there's a change, if there's need for change, and then the change, the benefit of change doesn't come on time, people start complaining. You said this thing will favor us, and we are not seeing any result. Like Nigeria, when they changed the fuel subsidy, till today the fuel price has refused to come down. So people will tell you that what's the benefit of this oil subsidy removal? Does it affect those who are rich? It doesn't affect them, isn't it? It doesn't affect them. It affects the poor people. But there are people who it affects more. Those who earn low salary. And they say listing limit obstacles. Then listen to feedback. All right, let's move on. Another model again. What ADKAR, if you want to make a change, this model says awareness. Announce the change to employees well ahead of time. Explain your reasoning behind the change, including current pain points and potential return on investment or the new solution. Give employees an opportunity to ask questions and make suggestions. Then gauge employees' reaction to the change. Identify champions. There are people that want to take it very seriously in the organization, that this is what I'm looking for in this organization. Thank God, this change has come. And then you identify those champions to drive it. If employees are resistant or indifferent, address their concern or show them how the change benefits them personally. Knowledge, provide training, coaching to show what employees need to do after the change takes place. Address skill gaps, offer resources so that process flow chart that employees can reference later on. Then ability, schedule runs before the change is fully implemented, monitor performance immediately following the change, and provide constructive feedback. Set reasonable goals and metrics at the start, adjust processes as necessary. And finally, reinforcement. Monitor the change over time to ensure it fulfills its desired outcome. Use positive feedback, rewards, and recognition to encourage employees to keep following the new process. And sometimes it's good to have alternative plans. You understand? I was telling people that it's okay. Nigeria's main problem has the balance of payment problem. You know why? When there's too much money in the hands of people, even the cloth they want to wear a foreign cloth. Even if there's a good local one, they won't want to wear it. Is that not so? Everyone wear a Gucci bag or Gucci shoes or Gucci trousers and everything. So these are the things putting pressure on what? On our foreign exchange. And so if today you limit access to foreign currency, in fact, people are now using spraying dollars now. They don't spray naira again. You got a naira, spraying naira now, you can go to prison. But spraying dollar does not take you to prison. So some people have shifted from spraying naira to spraying dollars. So if you limit access to dollar, what will happen? Say you cannot spray it. The way they are doing the naira now, they say, if you see you with dollar, you will be arrested. What will happen? Who would demand for dollar again? That day you will see that the naira will improve to 500 to $1. So that is a quick win that will have happened. Not the harmonization first. Limit access.
Then we have this one, handing transition to new beginning. You know, when change comes, some people are excited, some people are confused, some people are frustrated. If you are benefiting from something and then they want to bring change, what will happen to you? Maybe you are benefiting from the delay of payment, and then they want to change it. You will say, no, don't change it, leave it the way it is. So there are people who don't want it to end. But there are people who want it to what? You know. So there are resistance and all that. But when it happens, it becomes accomplishment happens. New beginning for the organization. I will run to Kotter quickly. John Kotter. This is the one I actually want to talk about. Professor of Harvard Business School, yeah. He has 8 steps on all that. And he talks about there's need to what? Create a sense of urgency. A sense of urgency so if there are things you identify are limiting for the growth of your NDDC, your organization. In your own lifetime, how do I, before I retire, can I make contribution to this organization for its next phase of growth and development? That's the question. So there must be what? A sense of urgency. And then everybody must see that need that motivate them towards objectives. No, so can I ask a question? Can anybody tell me the change that happened in NDDC, especially with the corporate governance? Do you know why it was done? Can you explain to me, anybody? The corporate governance reforms that have happened. Do you know the essence of the corporate governance? Can anybody interact with me on that? Anyone has the knowledge about it? And what are the benefits that you're likely to get from NDDC to the people? Anybody has the knowledge of that? No knowledge? Is it top management thing? Not to the ground? Okay. So it has not come down yet. It's still upstairs. So nobody has idea. Okay, but you know what we are saying. Maybe they will come and do this with you later. So there must be what we call build a coalition. People that have the capacity of skill, knowledge, and commitment. And then C is about creating what? Correct vision. Emotional connection, creativity. Then get everybody on board. Communicating and engaging with people regarding change. Buy-in to keep change management. Remove barriers and reduce friction. There is a table here. This one is very quick. Establish a sense of urgency. 2, create a guiding coalition. Develop a change vision. Now, it's important that if you are undertaking change, there are people that you will bring on board who are what? The evangelists. The change evangelist. You need to have change evangelists. People that will go around and say, see, this change is good for us. This change is good for us. Lobbying staff. And telling people that this is the benefit of this change that you are seeing. You must have that kind of coalition of people who are buying people. They say they are the early buying. We've seen the glory that is coming to NDDC. We've seen the glory coming to this place. Let's buy in, let's buy in. Not political, though. You know, there are political people, they'll just give them some money to be doing that. That is not what we are saying. You do it because you know the benefit, it will come to the people. Yeah? That is fundamental. So you have develop a change vision, communicate the vision for buying, very important. Then generate short wins, so people begin to see small benefit from it. And then it becomes part of the culture. Just like I mentioned to you, MCDMB. The guy was there, tried to do few things. They have their own challenges now, but a bit faster. 60 days, you get your payment.
done few things with them as well. So you can see that at least you are sure. Even if you go to a bank to want to borrow money, banks can say, okay, there's the average is at 60 days. But if you go to a bank where they don't know when payment will come, what would they tell you? We are not going there. So it becomes a problem for investors. Now wrap up. So wrap up for the change. Must have to for change. How can change happen? People must be convinced before they follow you. If they're not convinced, they won't follow you. They will just say yes. They're picking their head, but they are not with you. Their head is with you, but their heart is not with you. If you want their heart, they need to understand what you are doing, and they must accept your change. But number 3 is very important. The question is, what is in it for me? So if you have a union, the union will say, this change you are bringing, look, you don't have a union in your place. There are union in federal civil service, labor union is there. So they will come and ask you, change again. What is it for the staff now, this change you want to do? And then you start negotiating with them, telling them the change that is there. So whatever you're undertaking change, there must be discussions about the benefits. And this is very important. Wife me. This WIIFM is very important in any organization where you want to undertake change. You need to convince people that there is a benefit for them. Their money will enter their pocket. Long-term plan for them. So genuine concern for people. So what is in your change of cocktail? What is the tea for me? What is the benefit? People don't go for change when they don't benefit, unfortunately. Whether the biggest organization in the world or the smallest organization, whenever there is a change, people look at it with apathy. They say, they don't come again, or 419 people. That's what they will say in their mind anytime you talk about change. But if you can explain, but change is necessary. I've told you different things happen why change is important. What we need to have is from giving them uninformed optimism to what? Informed what? Optimism. From informed pessimism, they are informed, but they still have pessimism. They still have, this thing, are you sure? They've told us so, but so there must be what we call what? Hopeful realism. So you move from uninformed optimism to informed optimism. And move from informed what? Pessimism to what? Hopeful realism. And then you must have to find a way to check it publicly and privately. So you can, your change agents, you're now going to start talking to people. Hey, how do you see this thing where they are presenting to us? Some people say, I don't believe in it. But don't tell them. All sorts of things. Now, if you should be able to find a way to convince them through interactions and say, see, it's not like that. In the next 6 months, you're going to see a change. And when the change happens, say, see, I told you something has happened. Are you seeing it now? People say, okay, we are beginning to believe you now. So, as managers, as directors, as different levels in the organization, when you have meetings and all that, whenever change discussion comes, tell them there is a process for buying. All right, so I will be fast. Now, there are measures for renewal. I will take only the models. I won't talk too much. You can read it up, but how we don't discuss the models with you. I think I have not done too badly in terms of time. What are the essential leadership skills? Mental toughness. In today's world, if you're not tough, you can't survive. If you're not tough, you can't survive. And that's one of the things they talk about. Say 2 things are important in life. Resilience.
and perseverance. In fact, entrepreneurship studies have indicated that the most successful entrepreneurs are people of perseverance. Number one requirement. It doesn't apply to only entrepreneurs, it applies to even workers, career people. Now, I just mentioned to you that where the world is going, we may end up with another financial crisis. Is that right? Because of this tariff war they want to enter into. Now, war, whether it is physical or economic, we end up where? In pain. War is war, isn't it? So when you enter into trade war, you should expect pain from it, isn't it? The pain that we may see maybe next year or later part of this year, things will go away. So maybe we need to reduce our expenditure to begin to save money, both for organizations and for individuals. Mental toughness. How do you ensure that? So it's a leadership skills. You talk about control, confidence, commitment, and challenge. That's what we call grit. Very important. This word here. And so, control in terms of emotional control, lack of control is important. No matter what comes around you, ability to hearing a very bad news and then just a frown and then get yourself back. It's not easy. Is it easy? Some kind of news you hear, you cry just enter. You know, so the ability to emotional control has to do with what? No matter what comes your way, be able to control yourself, to manage yourself, say, let me get back to myself, no matter what. And control of your life. Then you talk about commitment. Goal-oriented, delivery-oriented. No matter what, you keep your focus. It's not easy to keep focus, especially sometimes. I have seen people who come and do program with us in the business school, and then sometimes they just drop off. Some people say, time is not there. Oh, how do I cope with the work and this thing? My dear, nobody has time. You just have to make a time to do what you want to do. If you want to look in at free time, there's no free time. So you must have to consider commitment. It requires sacrifices of both your time and your money. So you must prioritize. There are things that I have not done that I regret today. Because I will have done them, I didn't do them. Keep on talking, and then didn't do them. Commitment. Then you have confidence. Confidence in abilities, interpersonal confidence. Dealing with people. These are things that will position you for this thing we're talking about. Then stretching yourself, challenge, learning from everything. I keep on telling people that, see, anywhere you walk, anybody around you, learn from what they are doing. Because tomorrow may be your challenge. There are people that say, this is not my job, I beg, please don't carry your job and come out to my own. But tomorrow when they transfer you there, what will happen? You begin to look for who to teach you, is it? You will have learned it by extension, but you didn't learn it when you're supposed to learn it. But when they're looking for somebody who do we put in that position now? This position that we have just created. They say, that lady, that one, all rounder, just put her there, she'll perform. Have you heard that before? All right, so let's go to the next one. I'm just trying to say these are leadership development levels. We just look at the model, the notes I will explain, and then you go and read up. That will not take too much time. There are about 4 levels. Leadership development level. Number 1 level is foundational leadership. Stephen Covey says there are 4 levels of leadership. One is to have what we call having a strategic vision. Strategic vision. So this one has to do with clarifying vision, developing clear, inspiring vision to guide teams effectively. And then you have communication essential, building skills for clear, transparent, and what? Persuasive communication. Communication that is not hoodwink or harassing people because you're a leader, but you do more of persuasion. Clear, transparent, and persuasive communication. And then trust building. And trust comes through what? Consistent behavior, consistency, empathy. Empathy is putting yourself in other people's position. Putting yourself in other people's position. If person cries, he started following to cry, how will you feel? You cry and someone follow you to cry. Hey! Some people, if immediately something happens and somebody is crying, they started crying, they don't know what has happened. They say, it's your friend is crying, follow her to cry. Just before you ask what happened, after crying, then you ask what happened. So trust, empathy, putting yourself in other people's position. Then being accountable. Being accountable. People don't like to be accountable. They don't want to give account to anybody. They feel that they are standalone, they are independent. So that is trust building. And number 2 level is what? Team empowerment. Delegation mastery. Learning to delegate effectively to enhance team ownership and productivity. And coaching skills. Developing a coaching mindset to guide and grow team members. Do you do sessions for your people? You are overseeing 3-4 persons. From time to time, do you teach them? Some people feel they know more than you. Leave those ones out, but teach. Try to share knowledge. Feedback culture, encouraging open, constructive feedback within the team, loops within the team. Level 3 is strategic leadership. First is about goal alignment. And I like that. And Stephen Covey called that level strategic vision, and then he talked the second one, strategic alignment. Strategic alignment is what? Everybody here have their own personal goals here. Yeah? And it's important to ensure that their goals align with that of entities. And that is what we call strategic alignment, goals alignment. Decision-making framework, leveraging framework for effective and timely decisions. Change management, leading through change, what? With resilience and adaptability. There are people that when things happen, they say, no, I can't work in this place again. In fact, the way they are going, I'm out. I can't change. You cannot make me to change. This kind of change, I'm tired of this change. So you need to adapt. Change management is adaptability, resilience. And the level 4 is what? Transformation leadership. That is a visionary thinking. Inspiring innovation and forward thinking within the organization. Most of the tech company, tech is now ruling the world, yeah? Because the billionaires are more tech guys. If you look at top 10 people, richest people in the world now, maybe out of 10, but from Borat and then the guy for Louis Vuitton, 2 of them can stand in. The rest of 8 of them are tech guys. And one of the foundation of innovation is about what? Thinking unknown. That's why Elon Musk is doing things, crazy things. Want to go and live in Mars. They just think what we call exploration. Just like Shell coming to Nigeria, Mobil coming to Nigeria looking for oil for 30 years before they found oil in Louisville. Spends a lot of money. That is exploration. That is innovation. Innovation is about exploration. Thinking outside the box. Moving from the known to the unknown. It's crazy, isn't it, to go and spend $30 billion looking for something you don't know whether it exists or not. So visionary thinking is very important. Culture. Shaping and nurturing a high-performance, inclusive team culture. Everybody's in for it. If we win together. If we lose together. What we call shared prosperity. Shared work and shared what? Prosperity. And that also fosters cooperation and trust. And then leadership legacy and focusing on impact and long-term contribution as a leader. As a leader, are you intentionally interested in the growth of your people or just your own growth? All right, so you can read through. Now, the next thing is about nurture employee development. Because if you're talking about leading change and renewal of the organization, people are the most important asset in an organization. If the people do not grow, organization will not grow. If you renew the organizational vision, you come with a new vision, and the people are not renewed, what will happen to the organization? That renewal is a failure from the beginning. So it must be that the board organization and the people are moving in the same direction. They must move in the same direction. If they don't move in the same direction, there will be gaps, performance gaps. So let's look at it. Nurture employee development. Why, what, and how? Connect, mentorship, and encourage participation, digest, discuss. Collaborate, shadowing, facilitate with your peers and other team members. One of the things Stephen Covey says about empowerment. Okay, modeling. Modeling is what? Do as I do. Or behave the way I behave. Because people watch, as a leader, people watch you, have they? Even if children watch how the parents behave and then learn from their parents' behavior, that becomes the template for their own behavior. So, shadowing, find voice, exposure, give opportunity to present and collaborate with new people. Reach full potential, stress assignments, coach, body system, set expectation, breathe learning curve. Hone strengths, core role skills, editing, constructive feedback, professional certificates. There's a young man that worked with me in those days, I think 2011 or so. The rapid way, they are quite a young man, but the way he has developed himself, something else. I said, this guy is something else. He has capacity to develop himself. And most of those things have been done on part-time basis, but harnessing capacity. Learn new skills, soft and hard, personal development, books, employer assistance, program for mental health. I was talking to one of my sons and I was saying, I just joined a running club. We have a running club. We run. Every time we jog, we run. It's part of the things they do. I said, running is very healthy. You know, so employed. So this is a comprehensive. So they are tied together. If people are the most important asset of an organization, if the people are not developing, then forget about organizational development. Now, how do we prioritize? Because a lot of people say, I'm burnt out, I'm tired, I'm stressed, I'm this, I'm that. How do we achieve a balance? How do we boost productivity? Because all this thing we're talking about, we need to find a way of balancing it out. If we want to be a leader that is perfect or near perfect, you must understand the 80-20 rule. 80-20 rule. It's important to understand this. So, prioritize your task and ensure that 20% of what you do will give you 80% of your results. We can look at it here. It's also called the Pareto principle. 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. So those efforts, focus on those efforts. Achieve more by doing less. Huh? So in 10 ways to apply the 80-20 rule is what? Task. Prioritize the 20% that give 80% of the impact. Time waste, cut the 20% that eats up 20% of your time. There are things that really should not be doing, should delegate, if you are in position to delegate. Abi? But you want to do everything. Hey, I'm very meticulous. In fact, I want to. Strength. Leverage is 20% that drive 80% of your success. Decisions. Zero in the 20% that shape 80% of your outcomes. Learning. Master the 20% that deliver 80% of your result. It takes time to do that, but it's something that we should take our time to do. We need to sit down. How many minutes do I still have? We're going to do any serious exercise, right? Habits, double down on 20% with 80% positive impact. Relationship, nurture the 20% that provide 80% of the value. Not all relationships are giving you value, are they? Which of the relationships are giving you value? Can you identify them? Maybe out of 10 people you know, only 2 people are useful. So why don't you concentrate on those 2 people? Serve them better, then you get more results. That's what the point. And then wardrobe, invest 20% of you wear 80% of the time. I mean, if you see some of the shoes that people have in their houses and clothes, you have 20 boxes, only one box you are wearing. Some of them you have never gone there for the last 5 years. What is that? And a lot of people, you apply to almost everybody. Shoes, the same thing. Focus on 20% that make 80% of the difference. So what do you need to do to make yourself hyper healthy? Possession, keep 20% of you use 80% of the time. Decluster the rest. So apply the 80-20 rule to every area of your life. Make every decision count. Small efforts, big results. Achieve more with less. For the organization too. It applies to the renewal of the organization. How much of our resources gives you 80% of your result? There are things that you don't need to spend money on, they are spending money on. How do you deal with that? Can we have some discussion now as we wrap up? Can anybody identify what gives you 80% of your results in your organization, in your department? The 20% that you do that give you 80% of your results. How do you boost your productivity? Let's have a few discussions before we wrap up. Any knowledge sharing? So let's do some knowledge sharing, some questions. If you have questions, you can ask before we wrap up. Question, please. Huh? Pareto principle.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is 80-20.
Yeah.
In practical terms, how do we use small efforts to get big results?
Okay, so what do you do in your organization? What is your own responsibility?
Okay, media management.
Eh?
Media management.
Media management. Yeah. Okay. So what are your KPIs? What are the KPIs they're giving to you? key performance indicators?
It depends.
There are key performance indicators. Is to make the work of the NDDC visible
Yes.
so that people can appreciate, because perception is everything.
Yeah.
If there are some things you write on the media, people see, are they doing all this and we didn't know? That's your responsibility.
Yes.
So now, the issue is that where will you go and do that, that the impact will be more? For instance, let's just give an example. Where will you go and do that media work, that impact will be more? Of course, no, people don't read newspapers, you know that.
Yeah, media work, before could make impact as media work, it's varied now. We have social media, we have new media, we have the print, the radio, the this and that.
Can you put it so that everybody can hear? I'm not hearing well.
Yeah, before could make real impact in the media world now, especially as it is wide. It's wider than before as it includes new media and all others. I have to put on a lot of effort in research, in gathering information, in disseminating it, and it's just more tasking. So I just really want to know how I can put less, no matter the amount of equipment or modern equipment I could acquire to do my work, I still have to put a lot more effort to make great impact, as I still have to listen to and respond to criticism.
Okay, so now what I'm saying in essence is that under 35, people under 35 years is about 65% Nigerian population. Where are young people found? Because you should concentrate on young people. Young people, where are they found? What did they do? Did they listen to radio? Did they listen are they on social media? What you need to do is take their achievements, policies, and their, for instance, we are talking about change, Abi.
Yeah.
Listen to the change talk. The change that the NDDC is doing, has it impacting society? If you present this information on social media to young people, it can make a lot of difference. You have a very, 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 very good policies. The Project Hope that you have, I don't know whether it's working yet. Quite a lot of things that you have. Even the scholarship program that I send people abroad and all those things are there. Can we have results of those policies? Take them out and drop them on social media platform, on Instagram. If we come to say that, and then look for where a lot of the young people are residing and drop it there in their own. There's a way social medias are maximized. You discover that it may make more, it may not necessarily do too much without going to spend too much money on other media. Social media alone can give you 50% of the results you're looking for. So that's the point we're making. You need to cipher the information. It's data driven. Yeah. The data is that what's the impact of these policies? If you get it, you drop it in the right platform. You discover that the people will be happier. I'm seeing a lot of things that happen in this now. A lot of young people, the MD has been able to resonate with a lot of young people. He's a young man, and he's been able to resonate with a lot of young people. So a lot of young people like him in what he's doing, with some of the projects that he's doing. You understand? Light up Niger Delta, all that. It's already somehow resonated with a lot of people. Yeah? So these are things that can be dropped. The physical side is there, one-to-one is there, which is important. That part is done mostly by the board people. They go to communities, they tell people. But on media side, the most effective area looks like the social media, where the young people stay.
Yeah,
then on the side, on the side of the LinkedIn and all that, are for professionals, because they also criticize. So articles can be written. Proper articles can be written and be dropped in those places on how this has impacted on development. With metrics, possibly to show the metrics in terms of performance of this, in line with living standards and all that. People need to articulate articles and be writing. It can be done. And people begin to see that, is it true, all these articles we are seeing about NDDC? So we have to work with faculties, yeah? Faculties that will work with you to be writing articles, to promote the NDDC. On the LinkedIn side, on the top level people, to know that what you are doing is great,
the young people about projects you have done, and how many people have been employed, how many people have gone to school abroad, and all those kind of projects that are happening that affect people's life. So it becomes that 20% between, it's not much.
I don't know. I can't see how that can make the world 80%. That is, I can just relax and get the work done. Because even as I'm dropping those things, especially to the young people, the social media, I'm having varied response or responses from this one critical, this one pressing, this and that. So it
Just try it, start doing it, and then initially it may not be up to 20%. 20% will be the end result. You can start with 50-50, gradually it will resonate to that level. All right?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other question? So everybody's good? All right, so we stop there. Thank you very much.
Please, a round of applause for Professor Silva Okwala Charles. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of today's session, and I want to thank you for your attention. I think the lunch is ready, so we'll just go take our lunch. I would like to beg of you that tomorrow, let's try and do this by 9 o'clock. We're having Mr. Alex Ndudi-Enebeli, former Director of Procurement, the NDDC, will be taking the first class tomorrow. So please, in the spirit of comradeship, let's do him the honor and let's come early. Let's not report ourselves. Let's say that, Oga, since you leave, change what don't happen for you, no be small. Please. Thank you and good afternoon. God bless you. So tomorrow, 9 o'clock, we'll be here and can go have your lunch. Thank you.